Chess, like in life, is filled with irony. One of the ironies in chess is that simplifying things is not so simple to do in practice. So, how do we simplify every game that we have advantage and try to convert it for the win to simplify to the win? So, how do we do this? There'll be 11 examples how to simplify and have the right mindset to make sure we look out for them and not miss a chance to simplify for the win. So, every example is white to move, and this first one is this one, and the material is actually black is up a pawn. But with simplification, we can win the game as white by simplifying. So we do what? What do you think? White should do force sequence is rook d8, rotates the 8 back, and queen e7 is a fork between the rook and the knight. Therefore, the knight will drop, and also continually white will be up on minor piece and win the game. So next position is this one, and we have a rook in game, and white is up a pawn. But to simplify things more, and don't worry about this Lucina Fildo position garbage, we can simply turn it into transforming into a king and pawn game, which is simply winning. So how do we do that? We do forcing moves. Rook h8 check. Rook a7 is the only way to go. There's no king move. Then we trade this off, and we go the precise move, king e5, not g5, because king g7 will be a draw. So king e5, the king goes this way, we'll just do king e6, king f8, and now the cool thing is we go king f6, a direct opposition. If you know about opposition, if they go left, we go right. And we just basically promote the pawn, win the game. If they go to the right, we go left. And the pawn goes this one, pawn, and promote and win the game from white. So you have to know the concept of opposition and how do we treat the simplification to win the game. Training for the rook in game to winning king and pawn in game. That is how we simplify to transpose to an easier, clearer endgame to win. The third example is this one. And it's white to move and simplify to win the game. So, how do we simplify and win the game? Simply, two move tactics. Where do we see two move tactics? Well, you can think about it. You can try to take on d6 with a bishop, rook takes c6, and now e5. This is a pawn fork. This is a simply take, and fork. So rook e6, take the knight, and white has so much benefits for himself, and black will be crushed and probably resigning soon. The fourth example is this one, and we need to find out the clearest way to simplify as white to make sure that we don't have it be complicated and having some problems, because queen a1 is very definitely surely complicated if it allows that for black. So white has to have a retort right now. So black will be in trouble after queen d4. So if the queen takes the queen, then rook takes the queen, it'll be just easily done. So let's say if they go queen g8, but now we have a cool move, groovy move, is knight b5, attacking the pawn a7 with a queen and knight. So let's say if they go b6, we don't take the pawn, we do a check on d6. Forcing moves, checks are always nicely forcing, pretty much. So the king goes this way, mate. And let's say if they go this way, then we go check here. That'll be leading to force mate here and there. So the only way to, let's say, try to play for versus is this one, king b7. But now we do simpler, queen c7, king a6, and now knight takes a7. And mate is coming really soon. Checkmate here or something else. But eventually, the most that black can do is doing something cheesy. But at 8 moves at most, the game will be a checkmate forcibly is white. So now for the fifth example, white is up a piece, but it's scary because black had a check now on d5, and white has to respond the right way. How do we justify blocking, interposing, and surviving the right way? Should it be knight blocks or bishop blocks? What do you think? bishop blocks or knight blocks is better? Well, I think that if you do knight blocks, then this will be a really sad case for you, because the rook, well, the queen rather, take the bishop, and that'll be not so good for us. So that's why white should do the interposing of the bishop. So the queen is attacked. After this one check, and that takes there, it's fine. The queen has to do something because it's being attacked by the rook. So the only safe spot is to do something like queen e2. But after the queen trades, then we just do knight takes d4. After 2 minor pieces up, then this is going to be a simple win, and the simplification works, and we win as well. Now, for example number 6, we have to actually use our brains and thinking caps a little bit, because you want to make sure you don't turn off your brains when you do simplification. If you don't do that, you want to make sure that we have the right way, recipe to simplify, and not giving a draw when they are losing. For example, they go e7. It looks like trumpets. You have a lot of checks. But I'll say that at this one, the most you can have is a draw, because you can check all day long. There's a swivel, 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 and no way to have a progress to have this pawn be a passed pawn. And basically, the temples will be favoring black because the queen and the bishop can harass the white king. This is why we don't do this e7. Doubt the ball. So when you're simplifying, don't turn off your brain. You always want to look for forcing really credible situations to force the simplification for your benefit. Forcing moves is something like queen h5. Try to threaten a checkmate. So checkmate threats are very, very forcing. Just besides checks, mate threats are very paramountly important, saying that they can't ignore us. So if they go g6, then this will be disaster, because queen takes h7, then the king will be dismayed. If they go run away, they can do this one check and the other mate, or g7 check. This is also mate. That's why the best way that black can try to resist is to run away like a chicken. e7, king d6, king c5, king b4. Then the queen trades. We have to make sure we think about it. If your queen trade, then we have this actual winning endgame. It doesn't matter king h3 or king c3. If we have the queens simplifying, then e7, saying that, okay, your bishop is not the light square, is a dark square. Therefore, e7 is forcibly win the game, because promotion happens and we win the game. For the next example, for number 7, it's really strange and very imbalanced. And white's only move here is to do king g2. But black has a clever try to play for something like a resistance. So rook e3, saying that if we take the rook with the bishop, then d4 is saying that I pin your queen. Ha ha, you are going to be sad. But the cool thing is we just do bishop takes f2. That's always attacked by the knight and the pawn. Why not take this piece with an attacked piece? Why not? This is basically the right way to do it. So after the queen is gone, we take the king, and this knight has to move away or trade, and we have 2 rooks extra, an extra knight, and this will be really winning for white. Example number 8 is this one, and you want to have a rhythm of what to do in the simplification process, and this should be second nature to you after this video, and how we think about simplification the right way. The move here is for white is to do a check simply on d6, so the queen. So therefore, if they go king h5, then they'll be just simply rook takes e5. And if they go the queen takes there, then the check with the rook, and this rook also be hanging, there'll be also a win for white. Example number 9, we have to do next level of simplification. This is where we don't have a forced win. There's no forced wins here. And if you're one of those guys that look at every such YouTube video and saying that I want to plug in this Stockfish and see what Stockfish says, and it'll just be so brilliant because Stockfish helped me. This is not going to be helpful, because this one position is no forced win. The computer says lackadaisically, okay, block and try to play the draw. No, this is a practical the example here. A practical example where we have to use the principles about simplification that will be leading us to have an advantage. Therefore, in human senses, black has to do only move, only move, only move, and white will win the game if they have blocks do a misstep. So, how do we simplify the game? So, let's do a top-down approach. The most valuable piece is the queen as far as attacking potential. The next one is rook. So why don't we do rook b2? Rook b2 is the right move. So they go rook gp2. And now at this point, after rook gp2, we go king takes b2. They go something like f5, attacking our knight. We go precisely knight f2. Knight e3 will be attacked by f4. We don't do that. We don't waste tempos. So knight f2 is basically intentionally making sure that you don't lose time. They go knight e5, attacking the c pawn. We defend the c pawn, but they try to be clever. They go a3, saying, remember this guy. We go king b3. It says, aha, I tricked you. Silva Banana I'll say that's c4. But now, how do we continue? How do we possibly continue here? So first of all, we want to make sure that we guard the c5 pawn. This is one of the things we have an advantage because we're immaterial. We have the bishop position because of one factor. After knight d3, we'll actually have this h pawn rub the board if we protect the c pawn first, and we tie down the black forces. Therefore, these two factors about the c pawn will be a distraction, and the h pawn will be a distraction for the knight, and they'll be the 1-2 punch to win the game. So let's say if they go something like king b5, we go h4 right away. So they do something to knights, probably knight e3 to g4, and we just take a3. They go king c4, but then simply c6 wins the game. So they can't do that. What to do was black, so it's not so simple. It's not so simple at all. So this could be a move for black is really you have to be tiptoeing everywhere because this is really not so easy. Not as easy at all. This one just simply the king goes her position. This is not good. So you don't have to plug in stockfish if it's a practical human sense if you flip the board. This is just good enough that white has all the easy moves, and black has all the precise, let's say, really dodgy moves. And if they say, okay, I want to go f2 and saying that I want to scare you, hardy heart, this is, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. Because these are just king b3. And they go, okay, f3, c3, it doesn't matter. Maybe c2, even if you wanted to be swagger-licious, this one. Make sure there's no problem. But either way, this one, f2, this is a problem for black. This one, take their h6. The game is over, even still. There's no check. This is why c2 is the precise one, not c3, the check there. This one is actually nothing for black to do. This one, a7, promotion the next move, and white wins the game after this, let's say, squeezing a potential of basically water from rock. So we do this one with position. So very, very basically, we do forcibly variations, try to simplify and win the game. We do rook b2. We did this one. We have this knight f2 position. But we also make sure that we have all the cards in the game still. The c pawn is available to make sure that it's not oversimplifying things. So one thing about simplification, don't oversimplify sometimes, because oversimplifying will be actually the benefits for your opponent. Don't do that. We're simplifying simply. Don't make it too complicated and crazy. Make it simple. Don't forget that. Simplification is radically not a simple task. Example number 10 is where we want to be precise again. So how do we simplify in the best way possible? And the way to do it is we fix the pawns and light squares with g5. The pawn are really fixed. They can't move them. So the black can do something like a rook move, like rook f5. But now it doesn't matter. We just trade off everything. Rooks come off, the bed comes off. And this one, we had to be precise. We need to know king and pawn endgames. We need to do this. So how do we win and not draw from here? So think about it. I'll give you a couple seconds. the one move to win is king d5, because we have opposition diagonally. So diagonal opposition, if they go king e7, king e5, king back to f7, king d6, right? So the king has to go to the right or up. So this one we just eventually will be win the pawn by tempos, and it'll be win for white. Everything's the same. This one is fine. This one is also fine, but make sure that we don't stalemate the guy. This one, g6, this one, g7, this one, king f7. Then there'll be promotion, and we win the game as white. So the last example is a reversal of the roles. So we're trying to simplify to draw for white. So white to move and draw. You're down a pawn, and there's a forced way to draw this game. How do we simplify to draw by force? So think about it for a little bit. I'll give you 3 seconds. You can pause the video if you want more time. So the way to force a draw is promote first the queen. Then after this one, knight f7 check. If it goes this way, then king, or knight a6 check. If it goes this way, this is forever perpetual. That'll be a draw. But if they take the pawn, now we know that this bishop is not the right color bishop. It's a wrong color bishop. This dark square is not matching the h1 square. Therefore, our king can just run away. Really run away over here to the square. This one will be just in time to catch a pawn enough to block this promotion and win the game. So if you guys don't know, this is a wrong color bishop. So it doesn't matter if the king goes helping to be interfering with these things. There's no way to force the king from these 2 squares of g1 and h1 without stalemate. So they go this way, maybe g4, this one, they go this way, maybe h3, let's say h1, this is a stalemate, that'll be bad. Let's say d6, doesn't matter. There's no way to forcibly go this king from the h1 square because the bishop is not the right color. h5, the king will go this way and this way. And h4, doesn't matter this one there. h5, doesn't matter this one there. Doesn't matter if they go this way, this one is fine. This is actually absolutely fine. This is a stalemate. h3 doesn't matter. Then we go king h1. h2 doesn't matter. This one, and this is stalemate threats. This is going to be stalemate. This is going to be stalemate. And this is, if it go this king g4 move, then we go king g2. Again, there's no way to remove the things. This one there, stalemate. This is a way to draw by simplification, and simplification sometimes can be analysis to try to draw a losing position or worse position. So reversal of roles, but still same thing. Forcing moves. Make sure that you go top down, trade the queens off, trade the rooks off, and make sure that we don't complicate things, oversimplify for your opponent. So oversimplifying sometimes it makes it easier for opponent to resist. Don't make that happen. Make sure you have a simplification that only benefits you at the right time. And again, the irony is simplification is not so simple. And I'll see you in the next one. Hey, check this video out to make sure that you get more important information to bring your chess to the next level.